Pixar's newest film, Lightyear, starts with a 20-minute episode from the Twilight Zone, followed by a meandering collection of emotional scenes and jokes until the actual plot finally arrives in the third act just before the credits roll. There is no opening short film. Instead, it has 3 post-credit scenes, all of which are not worth seeing, capping at a total runtime of a breezy 1 hour and 47 minutes. If you are expecting the intense bravado and coolness that is the cold open of Toy Story 2, where Buzz is a space ranger blasting through meteor belts, robot armies, and booby traps with fun sci-fi references and the sound effects and art design, you will be sadly confused when the credits roll for his standalone origin film. And yes, if that term activates your fight or flight response, you heard me right. This is Buzz Lightyear's origin story. Origin. If you've ever wondered where he got his laser or jetpack or his first ever interaction with Zurg, who is not even an emperor yet, this film has the answer. If you want to see the Buzz Lightyear that is literally what the action figure is based on, he doesn't exist. Yet? Let me back up and explain what the purpose of this film's inception supposedly was. You have Andy, a young kid from 1995 who loves playing with his hand-me-down cowboy doll until suddenly a spark ignites in his young brain that yes, while the Wild West may be the coolest place on Earth, there's something even cooler beyond his bedroom. Outer space. The cowboy comforter and lampshade are replaced with rocket bed sheets and glow-in-the-dark star stickers. All this change happens in the span of a few weeks, helping him cope with moving to a new house and possibly even going through his parents' divorce. The uncharted stars of fantastical galaxies offer a new wellspring of entertainment for him in a turbulent time of his life. And it's all because he saw a specific movie in theaters, introducing him to the greatest hero in Star Command's history, Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger. And this is no ordinary film for Andy. Simply holding the character's action figure he got for his birthday changes his life forever. Fast forward almost 3 decades into the future, Toy Story has become the face of Pixar's highest achievements, both in emotional storytelling and technical achievements. You can even argue that Pixar isn't Pixar without Toy Story. Side note, Toy Story 4 did not need to exist and probably shouldn't have existed. But money is money, and also, it's not even that bad of a movie. It's actually pretty good. I would say it's probably the second to last over Toy Story 2, which, I don't know, I might have to go back to Toy Story 2 to watch that. But, anyway, I digress. It's not the best one, but it's really good, and I'm glad it exists. With Toy Story coming to its final conclusion, where could Pixar go from there? Did they leave their favorite toys on the front porch, driving off into the sunset to go to college or something? No. They U-turned right back around, because when they took a second look at the franchise, they saw a new opportunity for their next project. The pitch was simple. What was that life-changing movie that Andy saw back in 1995? And more importantly, what if we made it? And then COVID hit. I'm not kidding. On the documentary that dropped on Disney Plus alongside the film's release, Pete Docter explains how the pandemic's effect on the artist's isolation and perception of time was the driving influence in the script's evolution. Time travel, coping with the loss of loved ones, and owning up to the consequences of sacrifices that you thought were the best option are the cornerstones of this film. Without the quarantine, this story would be completely different. It might not even have existed. And I think that's a very important distinction that you need to think of going into this film. Because the first act is the best part, and that's what it is. It's a fresh and honestly powerful look back at the past few years, hidden inside the great concept of a spaceman watching the world change around him until he is nearly forgotten, practically obsolete. It tugs at the heartstrings in a way that only a Pixar film can, and the boldness in its execution only furthers the studio's commitment to creative storytelling. Now, with me raving about how good this film is, you're probably asking yourself, why is he wasting my time with this video? Why make a video at all? And that's kind of the point. This is a good film. It's a good film. What's the problem? The problem is everything surrounding it. To put it simply, this film is a failure not because of what it is, but because it's not what it set out to be. This is not the film Andy saw in 1995 that brought him the joy of getting an action figure at his birthday party. It's just not. It's not that film. This film is sad, dreary, emotional, and worst of all, slow. It's a slow burn. And the characters are so three-dimensional with personal struggles that they are incapable of succeeding as the heroes they need to be. They are flawed, lost human beings trapped in an inescapable situation where everyone around them is at risk of getting hurt because of the mistakes they make. What kind of inspiration would a kid gain from this? I'm not going to ask my parents for an action figure that regrets his life decisions, or even one that regains his confidence to revive the greatness of Star Command. I want lasers and jetpacks. Look out, the film kid's making a video essay. Stupid. I'm just going to take this from a class I took last semester, so I hope I plagiarize this correctly. When it comes to making a film from an established character, story, or even genre, the creator immediately makes an agreement with the audience from the start. Before the movie even comes out, with the trailer, the title, anything, an agreement is set. You make a musical, it better be colorful with great dance numbers and plenty of songs to fill the runtime. You make a Western, it better have a gun duel or a train heist, or at least take place in the Wild West. Whether it be filmed in Monument Valley or Spain, as long as it gives the audience the same aesthetic satisfaction, you've met the agreement. Yes, the audience wants new thrills and surprises, but those need to be built on a foundation that they're used to. You want to add a race war to the musical genre? Have them dance instead of fight. You want to add aliens to the Wild West? They better carry the space equivalent of a six-shooter. Even though cinema is supposed to be art, it's still a model of commerce, a money-oriented system. Rules are rules when dollar signs are on the line. When you make a movie, you have to make sure the audience knows what you're making. That's what genre is. That's what a set established franchise is. Buzz Lightyear is not that. What Pixar accidentally did when announcing a Buzz Lightyear film is that we, the audience, expected Buzz Lightyear. The galaxy-saving hero that goes on perilous adventures, voiced by Santa Claus himself, Tim Allen. Even at the start, recasting the voice of Chris Evans put people on edge. Director Angus MacLane wanted the movie Buzz to have gravitas and carry the technical challenges with the bravado of Harrison Ford, rather than a William Shatner, making him more of a straight-edge action hero with Hollywood charisma. Chris Evans brings that side of the character with full force. But it's not the goofball, headstrong toy we've grown up with. So even though I think it was a good decision for the recast of this story world, I understand why audiences saw this as a mistake. Critically, it's receiving passable scores, but audiences are just downright trashing it. Maybe it's doing better financially, right? No. Lightyear opened up at number 2 in its opening weekend under Jurassic World Dominion. 19 million shy of its projected box office. The last time a Pixar film fell short of its number 1 opening weekend was their only flop, The Good Dinosaur, which spells a bad fate for Lightyear. Journalists are just chalking it up to families not yet returning to the movie theaters. Yet who else is going to Jurassic World? They share the same demographic, but while one is skyrocketing into the hundreds of millions of dollars in profit, the more recent release is already seen as a failure. Even if you look at the IMDb reviews, which are the least reliable system out there for movie ratings, it's clear why this film is not doing well. Pixar spent $200 million on a story too mature for kids and not exciting enough for adults. Word of mouth travels fast, and ticket sales are quick to follow. Now, I still enjoy this film. Yes, it's slow. Yes, it's not what it should have been. Yes, the humor is a bit off with redundant gags failing to land. But the designs are great, the characters grow, and the artistry is really spectacular at points. I recommend seeing it in theaters, but realistically, they'll drop it on Disney Plus by the end of the summer. Just wait until then. I wanted to talk about this for a while, but never really had the words to describe it. Pixar is not doing well right now. Out of the last 4 films Pixar has produced, 3 of them are Disney Plus originals. With no box office chances at profit, those 3 films, with budgets of up to $175 million, are seen simply as incentives for more Disney Plus subscriptions. Sunk costs to raise the rest of Disney's ships out of the red. Yet, on the other hand, Disney releases Encanto and Raya and the Last Dragon to the big screen with a paid-on-demand alternative rather than a free part of the subscription. Did they do well financially? No, not really. But it shows that Disney was willing to throw away the Pixar projects at the same time shipping off their films to the big screen for the slim chance of profit. The trust only goes so far, and during COVID, they drew the line at the ticket booth. This imbalance in studio priority is only emphasized when Encanto walked away with an Oscar after playing 2 of their songs at the awards ceremony, whereas Luca was completely forgotten. And speaking of the Oscars, many people are talking about how the award for Best Animated Feature was presented.
All these characters hold such a special place in our hearts because animated films make up some of our most formative movie experiences as kids.
So many kids watch these movies over and over
and over and over and over and over and over.
I see some parents out there know exactly what we're talking about.
Pixar is not alone in shrinking returns. Animation as a whole is in trouble. Streaming services like Netflix have completely gutted their animation departments, while TV channels like Disney are scrapping 2D entirely, canceling some of their most talked about shows simply because the budgets are too high. Domestically, animation can only survive in movie theaters, but with how Lightyear was cast aside within a single weekend, it's not looking too good for future projects. And it doesn't help that we are pigeonholing this medium as a genre for kids. Animation is not a genre. It's a medium. It's a way to express any story imaginable. That's the one limitation, imagination. If we can draw it, simulate it, rig it, mold it, make it move, then we can tell a story with it. The fact that we just chalk it up to, oh, families don't want to see this one. Families just didn't show up because COVID. That's just shortchanging it so much. This movie cost $200 million. It probably was a 6-year production. Coco took 6 years to make. Other Pixar films probably took even longer. Some Disney films during the 2D era took 11 years. This is not just a genre that only kids enjoy. This is not a genre, it's a medium. And some of these films are way better than their live action competitors. Alright. Okay, so I forgot to actually talk about the movie in the video, so here I am a day later. This thing is never gonna get finished, which is pretty ironic because I would barely defend this film in a real conversation. So I still think it's a good movie. It's fine, but there's certain parts about it that really should be talked about, especially with the design. I know technically it's a Pixar movie, so technically it will be fantastic. But if you've seen clips of people doing live action cosplay of the suit of this movie's version of the Space Ranger Buzz Lightyear suit, it's impeccable. It's so good. The fact that everything has a button or it clicks and latches together, and the fact that the voice box button is actually a pulley that like if you want to quit, if you want to give up, you pull it, you yank it. Like the fact that that's thematically put into the film as like a very important idea, that like Space Rangers never use that. And then the toy, it's the most useless point, so it's like, well, I guess they'll just talk with it. Like that concept is great. And you know, like Woody says in the first movie, like, you're a cool toy, your helmet does the whoosh thing. Like in this movie, his helmet does the whoosh thing. He like hits the button and goes and it's like, whoa, that's so cool. And there's just so many analog things in this movie that kind of remind you sort of the 90s. Like the autopilot, he has to press a button to have it click out, and he pulls it and then he blows on the cartridge when it's not working and then puts it back in and it's fine again. Like those little things, there's a little bit there, not enough. There definitely should have been more. But the fact that they put some thought into that, most other studios wouldn't, because it costs money. And the fact that Pixar is willing to sink all this cost into a movie that is okay kind of makes it more endearing. But yeah, I just think story-wise, where I was getting with the whole social contract with the audience from the creator, we were expecting a Buzz Lightyear movie, but it's Pixar. Pixar had to make a Pixar movie first, and those don't go together. There's a clash. Pixar doesn't do action. The Incredibles is legit an outlier, which is why it's one of my favorite. But that's more than just action. Like out of all the superhero movies out there, The Incredibles has the least amount of fight scenes. And so Pixar commits to making a Space Ranger action adventure. It's not going to be that. It's going to be a Pixar movie. There's going to be characters that grow. There's going to be emotions. There's going to be growth. The stakes will be in here, not out there physically. So I'm not saying it was doomed from the beginning. I'm just saying there was already a clash from the very start. And it would have taken a miracle to get both right. And I think on the Pixar end, as a Pixar film, it's okay. As an action film, it's less okay. It's very slow. And if you look at the reviews, it's a lot of angry parents saying their kids were very bored. So it's, I don't know. It's stuck between a rock and a hard place, I guess. But yeah, I don't know why I want to talk about this movie so much. I want to talk more about animation, because that's what I want to do. One of my dream goals in life is to direct an animated movie. It's just the workload that goes into that kind of medium is completely different from everything else. It's just a totally different style. You have to edit and draw before you even think about getting the shots. It's completely reversed. It's not backwards, it's just reversed. You do all the editing and post-production before you even boot up the computers, because that's the real post-production, actually making the shots. And just thinking about that and like making a story world with an art style, and like how do you model this and how does the physics work, and the fact that you can get any camera angle you want in a 3D animated world. The camera is its own character. You could place it wherever it feasibly can go. The limitations are endless. And the fact that this medium is just, it feels like it's going up in flames. Even though I'm sure Encanto and Frozen 2 are huge successes. Maybe not financially, but like the toys. Oh my gosh. I'm sure Disney's making snow angels right now with Olaf. But I want Pixar to come back as strong as they were at the beginning. The real rebels that completely changed an entire market, that made studios rethink what it was to be a movie, to be entertainment, to make art. And that was a long time ago. I thought they were getting somewhere with Luca and Soul and Turning Red, but those were just thrown on Disney Plus, where a little bit of word of mouth made them spread. But other than that, they're just buried on a little tab on your laptop. They don't have the weight of a theatrical release like Lightyear was going to have. It just feels like they had their priorities wrong. Lightyear should have been a Disney Plus release, while those three should have been in theaters, because that's the impact they would have had. Like, the kids, that their lives would have changed if they saw that on the big screen with their parents, and if they felt ostracized or just different, or if they felt something by just watching that movie and feeling that connection of like being a part of something. You can't do that online on a little window on your laptop. That just doesn't happen. You can't make the same connection. There's nothing like it. So, I've been rambling for way too long. My computer's dead. So, I want people to support Lightyear. I will defend it in terms of it's an okay movie and Pixar needs it to be a success. But on its own, for what it should have been, I will realistically agree that it failed. I have no way of ending this video, which is why it's taken me so long to make. But Buzz Lightyear is a good movie. It's not what it was supposed to be, which is why people will forget it. But if you enjoy it, if you went to go see it, good. Make it your movie. Make it a part of what you want out of cinema, out of animation, out of entertainment. If you just read a plot, if you read like an article about, oh, Buzz Lightyear's woke, I guess I won't see it, then what's the point of any of this? It's not even woke. Like, seriously. This whole, like, same-sex kiss that happens in it, I legit missed it. It's so blink and you'll miss it. I missed it. I was watching the screen, and I don't remember it. So, the fact that countries won't even screen this movie because of that is just shameful. And I'm glad Disney is finally not cutting those scenes out. Even though they make them so brief that they easily could, they're sticking to their guts on this. And I'm glad that's finally happening. Even though they're really just pretending to do it for clout, whatever. It's something. As long as they fake it till they make it, okay. But please, Disney, give Pixar a chance to be successful, because this is a joke. I'm guessing by August, Lightyear will be on Disney Plus. So save your money. Wait till then. Watch it. Form your own opinion. That's all I have to say.